Thank you for the presentation, and I do appreciate your outreach efforts. I mentioned a while back y'all had a really big event in District 6 at the Northside Activity Center, and it was very well attended. I was really kind of surprised, and I went towards the end of it, just packed with people. There were other SAHs and SAHA, other entities there, so I do really appreciate that. I think that there's a lot to be said for what you mentioned, reaching customers where they are, not expecting them to come to you. So having said that, how can you tell me a little bit more about the process? How do you identify those that are in need? I'm sure you take the calls when people do come to you, but is there a prioritization, or how do you do that?
Yes.
And also, I'm sorry, part of it. Can you kind of walk me through the steps when somebody is qualified to accept the assistance?
Sure, absolutely. So first off, to identify the customers, we start with the HUD census tracts, and then in identifying the zip codes that we can go. We reach out, see if we can secure a location, and as soon as we can, we start planning an event. Through that process, what we will do is we will call any phone numbers that we have in that area and in that zip code to let them know that we're going to be in the area. On top of that, we have a contractor that we use that hangs door hangers to let people know when we're going to be in their neighborhood. And then the doors that we are knocking on are the customers that we either have some type of income data on, or I can identify that they have the oldest and highest balance due, so they're going to be able to capitalize on the ARPA dollars. So that's the approach we use for both knocking on the doors as well as on all of the phone calls that we do from an outreach perspective. As soon as we get the application, you can go online, go to one of our walk-in centers, wait for us to knock on your door, and whenever you fill out that application, it comes into us as an email. We get the email, our folks go through and clean it up. Unfortunately, it's all manual, so we got to match it up and see if we can find the account number with that. Then we look at the balance that is based on, right now we are qualifying balances through the end of September of last year, but we're working with the city to get an amendment to extend that time frame. But for now, we look at that balance, and then we send it over to our billing team. They go through, there's a couple of steps from an audit perspective, controls to make sure that we have all the paperwork. There are a list of requirements. I'll be happy to share those with you. We have to validate that someone's income level, as well as that they were impacted financially through COVID. And so sometimes if we don't have those things, we will send a letter out to those customers. We will also, if we have their contact information through the notifications, email, text, or phone call, we will send them a message to say we're needing something additional. So a lot of the applications that we have are pending some of that proof.
So how many times do you attempt to get a hold of somebody who maybe hasn't followed up?
We make 3 phone calls on top of all the other components. We'll leave messages, and it still leaves pending. It just means that someone else might get to the funds before they do, unfortunately.
And I think it was the first or second slide, you mentioned 54 million.
Oh,
what was that number, 54 million?
Yes, 54 million.
Of assistance. So is that for accounts that have been forgiven or that have been paid through ARPA, or is it a combination?
That's the total amount of dollars that we've been able to get through assistance. So some of it is federal dollars, some of it is the agencies. Like I mentioned, we work with over 100 agencies, so they set aside funds. So it's anywhere that we can find that there's available funding, we are using that so that and connecting our customers with that.
So that's 54 million that did go into CPS
yes.
revenue stream. Okay. And finally, what was my last question? Is there still room to do another event?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. That was really
Jesse's
successful.
sitting over here, and I will make sure that.
Okay. Yes, and we saw each other that night. I remember. I thought it was extremely successful, and there were people that were not just from that area of town, even not just from the district, but even from the west side. I know we had some families come in from the south side too, so that was really an extremely successful event. If we can duplicate that, I think that would be great. Thank you.
We'd be happy to, and I know I owe you some answers from the email I sent out, so I'll be sure to get those.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you.
Sam.